They were all doing it, talking about standards. We believe in standards. The f*** do they believe in standards? They don't believe in standards at all. You believe in standards. Guys, I'm going to talk about standards on this Sunday. I've just come off the water down at the rowing club, and I've been reading stories or listening on the radio on the way back about Boris Johnson. And in my opinion, these are coming out now on purpose. And I want to talk to you a little bit because there should be no one you dislike more than Boris Johnson. Now, I'll caveat that with, he's a fluffy cat. We like him. He's bumbling Boris. He's that kind of fool. We can relate to him, all that kind of nonsense, right? And I understand it. But look, here's the thing about it. I'm not going to go through a timeline of Boris's errors. He's a perpetual liar. He gets ahead by lying. Even his biographer said that. So look, let's just talk it out a little bit and why we need to dislike Boris with all our English hearts. Like everything, we need to dislike Boris. He has everything wrong for this country. Now, you know how I feel about it. And I'm going to be real here with you a little bit, okay? Because I think we need to be. This country does not recover itself via politics. Politics is the wrong thing. We've been proven to be in a uni-party loop. It doesn't matter who we get in. And I'll say that for reform. I'll say it for Homeland, Conservatives, Lib Dem, Labour. The civil service will still exist and we'll be in a loop again. They want to give you they want you to feel that you have some choice. That's what they want. But they know that you don't. No matter who you vote in, no minister can change the people in the civil service. They can't do it. The only person with some real tangible ability to do so is actually the Prime Minister. And of course, they're never going to elect anyone that has any kind of ounce of character. And Boris is completely the wrong person. So what's happening? What's happening here? The Conservatives under Kemi Badenoch, who has a massive timekeeping issue, by the way. Remember, Kemi was an anchor baby. Her mum came here to have her. Nigerian mother, came here to have her. She had her, took her back to Nigeria to school her, put her in North America to school her, and then Kemi came back here. Kemi isn't British. She's British by birth. She's not an English woman, is she? We know that, all right? Look at Kemi, all right? Look at me. I'm an Englishman. I'm actually Welsh as well, don't get me wrong. But I'm from these lands. Kemi is not from these lands. Now, obviously, me being an absolute racist aside, there's nothing racist about it. It's just factually correct. But she has poor timekeeping. Kemi's standards are low. But why was she elected? Now, we can find the film if you want. I'll put it in the comments if you want to. When Kemi was elected, and they were there in this big hall, and it was between Robert Jenrick and Kemi Badenoch. And I quite liked Kemi at the time, to be fair. Not so much now. I mean, we all like her a bit now, but she's through the floor with the poll. She's not polling well. The difference between Kemi and Robert is Kemi was saying the populist things and Robert was bouncing around between the nearest kind of right-wing thing he could find. He would jump on that bandwagon. Now he's come out and on his YouTubes or Twitter, whatever he's doing, he's following this kind of very conservative right-wing thing that obviously as conservatives with a small c we identify with. We understand that. They should have picked Robert, but they didn't. They picked Kemi. And why? Because in the hall they said, look, not only have we, this is the thing about the Conservatives, they don't even understand why they're lost. Not only have we got a woman in power again. Yay, us. It's a woman of colour. Is that racist? A coloured woman? A woman of colour? I don't care. Fuck it. I'm not interested anymore. It's bollocks. We're done with racism. We were never racist in the first place. It's just a label they throw around to stop guys like me talking, right? And guys like you as well. So we're not interested in them being called racist. So they wanted to elect a woman and they wanted to elect a minority because then the Conservatives, that Labour can't have a go at them anymore, can they? They can't talk about it, you know? They wanted to rob Labour of their thunder because it's all about that. It's all about looking good. So what about Boris? Well, we know Boris was a massive failure. He came in post-Cameron. He was basically they were holding their noses when they brought him in. He lies. That's what Boris does. I think his real name is Alexander. They call him Boris. In government, they call him Alexander. I have to look it up, by the way. All this is from memory. I've not looked up any of this stuff. I've just been thinking about it in the car. Now, look. Boris came in. He'd already been sacked from the Times by making up quotes. He'd already been sacked from Parliament, I think, for lying about an affair. The man lies. The problem is, whenever he does lie, he gets ahead. So he's learned, well, I'll just lie then. And I might get found out, but I'm still going to get ahead. You know how he picked what side to be on with Brexit? Do you know how he picked that? He picked it. He just went, well, I'll pick one of them. It doesn't matter which one. It doesn't matter. He didn't care which one. He was going to pick a side and go all in on it. And he thought, well, you know what? It's much easier to wave the British flag, isn't it? The flag of the Union, than it is to wave the European flag. So I'll go for that and I'll do the patch. You're going to see this again. The two news stories that have come out I'll try and chuck him up here or something, you know what I mean? The first one is about him having his 4th child with Carrie. That's not his 4th child, full stop. The reason that man continues to need so much money is because he's got like 16 kids spread around the place, right? He's more than a cad and a bounder. That the man is not a nice person. I mean, Dominic Cummings found this out. Dominic Cummings should have been in there smashing apart the civil service. Whatever you think about Dominic Cummings, the guy's obviously autistic. He's on the spectrum somewhere. He knew that what we needed to do is smash apart the civil service. That was the only way this country was ever going to reform itself, was smashing apart the civil service. 10% of this country works for the government. They produce nothing. I've got private businesses now. I used to work for the government as well, guys. I used to be in the military, 20 years. We don't produce anything. There's no money coming back into the state. When you work for the government, you take from people. You take from people in private business. It's unsustainable. 10%? Conservatism should be small government, where you give money back to people so they can spend it on whatever they want. They can spend it on healthcare if they wanted to, but we don't, because we have the NHS. So we have these massive bills. We have these massive bills. And this is why people are leaving the country, guys. They're leaving because they can't decide that it's not up to them what they're spending their money on. The money's going in taxes and being given to migrants sitting in hotels. Look, I'm getting flashed up, and it's not about that, right? So what did Johnson do? So he came in, didn't he? Waving that flag for Brexit. He came in, and immediately in 2020, obviously went into COVID, yeah? And so he couldn't do what he wanted to do. Obviously, Cummings lied as well about Site thing, and he got booted out, didn't he? Carrie started running the government, obviously his girlfriend. He put a woman that he wasn't married to into number 10. That to me was like, standards, mate. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. What are you telling people? That it's all right to live with people now and not actually bind yourself in marriage. I'll tell you why marriage is important. Because it's fucking hard, mate. Because it's hard. That's why you marry these women, because you've got to give them some kind of credibility. And I spent far too long with my wife now without marrying her. I was an idiot. I didn't even think about it, right? I've been with the same woman since I was 19 years old. I didn't marry her until well into my 30s. I didn't think about it. It's going through the military. But what we should be doing is marrying these women and creating a family unit, all right? And this is what, and then obviously, this is what it's about, isn't it? I talk about it. Fitness, family, finance, and the rest of it. I talk about it, right? But you need to give women this strong unity, like, I'm committing to you. He didn't do that. I think he did now. I think he's married to her now. 4 kids? Is he married to her? I don't even know. So 4 kids he's had with her. The reason he earns so much money, and he has to earn money, is because of the maintenance payments he's paying for other kids that you don't even know about. Look it up. The guy's got kids all over the place. The guy has no standards, 0 standards. He will say whatever. Remember when he went to Ukraine early February 2023, I think, when he was out of office, when he was in from 19 to the end of 2022, November 19, I'm thinking about this as I look at the sky. That's going to help, isn't it? And then when he was out of office, he went to Ukraine. Russians had proposed a peace deal that Zelensky was interested in, and he went out and he stopped that. Now, I did some research into this, and I can't say too much on here because I could be sued. What I will say is that he had a lot of dealings with an investment firm attached to BlackRock. And BlackRock were buying up all the rights to rebuild Ukraine after the war. When Boris went out there in February 2023 to continue that war, he hadn't asked Rishi Sunak. He was in that kind of diplomacy thing, wasn't he? He hadn't asked the Prime Minister. He went out there and he told Zelensky, don't stop doing this, mate. Crack on with the war. We're going to support you. Now, here's the thing. He declared money from that to the House of Commons. He declared money from an advance on a book deal to the House of Commons. And part of that was from this investment firm attached to BlackRock. So my argument is, well, why would you want to continue a war? Well, of course you'd want to continue a war if you had the rights to rebuilding the country. You want that country as smashed up as it possibly could be, because then there's going to be more investment coming into BlackRock. So that man, allegedly, I'll say, was taking money so he could continue a war going, killing young men and young women on both sides. The man is the personification of evil as far as I'm concerned, guys. Now, they've got a story coming out, haven't they? Not only about him having 4 kids. He's got a Times article coming out. He's got a Times about Lucy Connolly. And I tell you what will happen when I am king in this country. I will find the people that misadvised Lucy Connolly and told her to plead guilty. That poor, poor woman. She had PTSD from the loss of a kid that she blamed the NHS from. Read up on that story if you want. And she blamed the NHS because the people, they were migrants. They were immigrants in the NHS that advised her to take her kid home. The whole thing there, the kid died at home, unfortunately. The horrible story, mate. Horrible story. Really, really horrible story. I'm not saying Lucy was the sharpest crown in the box. I'm not saying that at all. And yeah, of course she made a mistake, but fuck it. Fine her £500. Stop being a dickhead, Lucy, all right? Yeah, all right, stop being a dickhead. Not lock her up for 31 months or whatever it is. It's ridiculous. So Boris had jumped on that bandwagon because he wants to come down, wasn't it? He wants to come down this man, doesn't he? Look at this. He wants to come down as the big man, doesn't he? Look at this. Look what I'm doing. I'm supporting Lucy Connolly, supporting the little people. For the first time ever, by the way. That girl's been in jail for a long time. Look at Tommy Robinson as well. They didn't put all the charges straight away, did they? They wait for him to finish his sentence, about to be released, put the other charges on him. This stuff is vindictive. That's what the state does. And Boris Johnson is part of that state. So, Robert Jenrick, you know, he's the other guy they could have in as a Conservative leader. They realise that he's not going to do it. They need someone to cause a bit of controversy, be bumbling Boris, come in again. They're going to put him in as leader. The first time the Conservatives put him in, they didn't want to do it. They were holding their noses because they knew he lies. All the time he lies. That's what Boris does. They know they can't trust him. And they all talked about standards. The idiots, they all talked about standards. Even when he was going, even when they were writing letters and standing down, because that's what they did, didn't they? Boris had to stand down because all the Conservative politicians were writing letters saying, I resign, I resign, I resign. They were all doing it, talking about standards. We believe in standards. The fuck do they believe in standards? They don't believe in standards at all. You believe in standards. This is the problem in this country. None of them have standards. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. This country will never survive unless we start doing the difficult things. We have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to do. That's exactly what I teach in my school. I'm flashed up now, and I don't want to be flashed up. It's Sunday morning. They don't have any standards. It doesn't matter whether it's Reform. It doesn't matter whether it's Conservatives. It doesn't matter whether it's Labour. It doesn't matter whether it's Homeland. None of them have standards. The only standards we have is you and me and the people. That's the only standards we have. And we're failing in ourselves, because I see it. Like fat people everywhere. I mean, I went through that as well. People with alcohol issues. And this is what happens when the country falls. We get degenerate, guys. We allow people to wave that flag around the place and everything. And we think about different things. We're just trapped into talking about bollocks as opposed to doing what's right. And that's looking into our communities and helping people grow and start businesses and fund their families. I've talked about it before. Yeah, end up being a rant. Fuck, I didn't want to be a rant, did I? I'm sorry I swore. Have a good Sunday. Just watch Boris. Watch what they do with Boris. It's a disgrace. It's just an absolute disgrace. Now I'm upset. I'll go and do some weird breathing techniques or some shit like that. Hey, have a great Sunday, guys. Talk to you soon.